Hello and welcome back to the Global Gaming Network. We've got another episode of Power Rankings for you guys. We've got the International coming up for Dota 2. It's right around the corner, so we're gonna rank our top 5 teams in Dota. Now, joined with me today is our resident Dota expert, Chris. How are we doing today, Chris?
I'm doing great. As you said, I'm excited for the International coming up. We have a lot to go forward to, and it's been a really big build-up for this year.
Yeah, especially after coming off of EWC, we saw Falcons and Spirit in the grand finals, so that's going to play a heavy factor in the rankings today. It is going to be mostly biased towards recent results, but of course we're going to look at some historical data as well to determine these rankings. And we got some clips to show from each team along the way, so strap in. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to start with number 5 on the list, and that's going to be Team Falcons. Coming in with a score of 86. This is the team that, like I just mentioned, did come off hot in that second place finish at EWC. But they've also had some great results throughout the rest of the year. Do you think that they have a chance to make another grand finals appearance when it comes to this next international?
Yeah, I definitely think so. This is a team that's been kind of really excelling in those chaotic mid-team fights. So I'm expecting to see a little bit more of that coming out, especially as we saw at EWC. They did a really good job making it to that grand finals. And as you said, they've had a lot of other mixed success through 2025, making a lot of top 4 appearances and even some grand final appearances where they were just losing out versus some of the other top teams that we'll talk about today. But I definitely am excited to see how they play it out. ATF, Malrain are both very good players, and they've had some really high hero pools, going back to the Bristleback Mars Timbalsaw for ATF, and then the Sand King Earthshaker for Malrain as well. We'll have to see how those play into the upcoming TI, whether or not we see a meta shift or kind of that similar meta that we saw at EWC could play really well into their hands. But this is a team that just haven't really been able to make it forward. They just beat Team Spirit in one of the Fissure tournaments that just happened, so maybe they can use that as a little bit of momentum going forward. They're finally able to overcome that hurdle, but we know that they can play very different types of metas, anywhere from like the Zoom meta to high risk, high reward, different type of team comps. And if they can play those well, so I think they can definitely shake it up, because they showed us that they can compete with the best, but they still have to make it at that premier level tournament that we want to see them finally get that win.
Yeah, number 5, I think a lot of people might consider this a little bit low for this squad, if we're being real. I mean, like you said, they just won the most recent tournament. It was a smaller tournament. It's not the size of EWC, but they seem to be riding a high. And I think if they can crack into the top 4 or even make a grand finals appearance at the International, then we could absolutely see them rising in our rankings as well. But that's enough about Team Falcons. Let's get into number 4 on the list, and that is going to be Team BetBoom. Now, BetBoom gets a score of 88, so just barely higher than Falcons. And I'll be honest, looking at the data for this team, it's a bit all over the place. I mean, they're very consistent. They constantly finished, they finished 5th, 6th at last year's International, and they got top 8 at EWC. But they also had one of the most memorable runs of any team this year. I mean, going into PGL Wallachia Finals 5, they barely qualified through groups in 8th place, beat Spirit in round 1, then lose to Team Liquid, and then make the most insane losers run that we've seen, ultimately beating Gaming Gladiators in the grand finals. I mean, what a crazy tournament that was. This to me shows that they're resilient. Like, even if they fall early in the tournament, they're still gonna come back, they're gonna keep fighting. And I think that's a big reason why they end up in our number 4 spot. But do you think they can kind of recreate the magic that we saw from them at PGL, or is this gonna be another top 6 for them?
I think they can, and what you're alluding to back at EWC when they weren't really able to make that biggest run is, as you said, if they fall, they can come back and rise. Unfortunately, EWC was a single elim tournament, so it kind of played against them a little bit, but they do have GPK, and probably one of the most dominant mid laners that we have seen of late. He's consistently winning lane, so they definitely have a strong force behind them in that mid lane, especially with the carry, and pair that with Pure. They have a lot of firepower behind them. So we'll see a lot of what he's going to play. We've seen a lot of Monkey King, Dragon Knight, and then Void Spirit coming out of him, but mostly that puck has been really scary for people to play against. But they have also come up in a lot of other ones in Dream League 26. They actually did get their first place, so they showed that they can win, but they just really haven't been able to really break through that top 4 in the main tournaments just yet that we've seen leading up to TI this year. So it'll be really interesting to see how they play out and if they can use their success behind GPK to try to make it to that grand finals run this time.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to see if Bet Boom can recreate that magic. Like I said, that was my favorite tournament to watch from them this year. It was absolutely insane just to see them bounce back in that lower side, and they were looking unstoppable. So if they can find that form again, it's going to be exciting at the International. But let's get into number 3 on the list. That is going to be Tundra Esports. Now, this team, they finished 4th at EWC, and honestly, a lot of the data suggests that they could secretly be the number 1 team. I mean, they post wins against just about everyone. At the beginning of the year, they were looking quite dominant, winning Fissure Playground 1, Blast Slam 2, and then going into May, they also won Blast Slam number 3. So this team knows how to win, and they were even able to beat Falcons in the grand finals of their most recent win. So we know they have it, but can Tundra turn their stats into an Aegis trophy?
I definitely think we could see it, and I think it's going to be on the back of 33, him being the captain and really bringing it out, especially on that off-lane role. We'll have to see if he's able to bring a lot of that knowledge to help guide them to this win. As you said, at the beginning to about midway of this year, they were just on fire. They were winning tournaments, they were consistently getting into those grand finals, but as of late, they have been kind of falling off a little bit. They weren't really able to create as much success in the later half of this year, especially going into EWC, only getting that top 4 because P-Vision just completely dominated them in that 3rd place match. Don't know if it was because of that or not, but we'll have to see them make up the way that if they end up falling a little bit lower to really battle with their way back. They definitely have the talent on their team to do it. They have a huge pool. They're playing a lot of the Axe, Shadow Shaman, and Pugna. So we'll have to see if they can kind of pull that all together, recreate some of the success that we saw back in Blast 2 and 3, because if we can do that, they'll be a really dominant force coming into TI this year.
Yeah, they seem like a team that if they are comfortable, that's when they play their best. And, you know, maybe at the Blast tournaments, it's just a more comfortable environment. So hopefully they can get comfortable at the International. It's the biggest tournament in all of esports. Let's be real. It's one of the highest prize pools. Of course, not as high as it used to be, but still a lot of money to play for. So hopefully they can step up to the occasion. But let's get into number 2 on the list. And that's the team that you actually just mentioned. That's going to be Paravision. So this team has one of the youngest rising stars in the Dota scene, and that's Satanic. This kid's only like 17 years old, but he's been popping off. This guy's been very impressive. This team has also made 4 grand finals appearances so far just in 2025 and have wins over literally everyone on our list, including the number 1 that we've yet to reveal. It's really interesting, this team. It feels like maybe because they have that young player, that might be part of their inconsistency. They do often yo-yo between like top 3 and top 8. What's it going to take for Paravision to, you know, get over that hump and be that consistent team we know they're capable of?
I definitely think it's just the rising of the self-proclaimed best carry in the world right now, Satanic. And he's definitely at times shown that he can be up there at the very top. You know, not sure if he's taking the place out of one of the best that we'll talk about in a little bit, but he's definitely shown how dominant he can be, especially paired with his support. And he has a really big pool that he's been playing with as well, playing the Shadow Fiend, but also playing onto the Templar Assassin or the Terrorblade when he's not exactly getting those high priority picks that we've been seeing over the last couple of months when I was checking the stats of what they've been playing. But of course, he's sporting a very high KDA, 5.93, getting on an average about 8.29 kills and 2.5 deaths over the last 3 months. So they're really pumping out some good KDAs and definitely showing why he is that carry player, especially at 17. It may just be a little bit of that newness coming into the league. Of course, he is on loan from Spirit, so Spirit kind of pumping out really good players, but he really meshed well with P-Vision to a T. And at this point, they're rising. I think they're rising at the right point that when they come into TI this year, if they can play around being that really solid team with really good late game mechanical play, then we could definitely see them in the grand finals.
Okay, yeah, well, Satanic may lack in experience, but does not lack in confidence, that's for sure. Self-proclaimed best carry in the world. Let's see if he can prove that at TI and earn that first place finish. But to do so, they're gonna have to get through one team that's number 1 on our list. And of course, who else would it be? The only team we haven't mentioned yet, it's Team Spirit, the most recent champions at EWC. This team has been on fire all year long. They're 2-time TI champions. They won in 2021 and 2023. And they just added another massive trophy to their cabinet at EWC. So the question is, can they go back to back? Can you just recreate exactly what you did at EWC, go into TI and win it as well? What do you think?
I think they can. I mean, this is a team that has a lot of structure behind them. They have multiple players who have played with each other for 4+ years at this moment. 3 of them, I believe, share 2 TI trophies between them, that 21 and 23 TI as well. And then you add in Rue, who just joined last year. Of course, is going to be looking to add to his teammates who all have TI wins underneath their belt to join that team. And then you're looking at Yutaro, the best carry player in the world right now in Dota. And he has been absolutely popping off. And we've seen him playing a lot of the Templar Assassin, Nature's Prophet, Shadow Fiend. So I think we're definitely looking at a team that you can't really bog them down to one team comp just in general. They know exactly what to play. They've been playing it really well, but they also have a variety of pool that they can choose from. So we'll have to see if other teams can maybe lock down Yutaro, because that's kind of where maybe they can stop the big team spirit. But team spirit, especially with their late game macro and team fighting, if they can get to that late game, they really outshine most of the teams that we see on this list, as well as the teams who are attending TI this year will be one of the favorites to get to the grand finals and possibly win another Aegis for themselves.
Yeah, honestly, they were so impressive at EWC. I mean, Yutaro is going absolutely insane. I hope to see him in that same form going into TI as well, see if they can win again. And if they do, then they'd be on that every other year kind of train, 21, 23, 25. But it's going to be tough, man. I feel like everyone's going to be bringing their A game at TI. So, but that's going to do it for our top 5. We do have one honorable mention, and that's going to be Team Liquid. Now, of course, this is the team that won this tournament last year. So we know they're capable of it, but honestly, this year has been quite lackluster for them, especially to their own standards. Honestly, a slew of 5th to 8th place finishes, including at EWC. Is this team, I mean, obviously they're in a bit of a rut. Do you think they can get out of it and like shine again, or is it not their time yet?
We'll have to see. I mean, if you're going to get out of your rut, this has to be the time. This is the big tournament. This is the one for everything that you've worked so hard in the year for. And we're looking at a team that, as you said, won TI last year 24, but have been unable to really replicate that success right now. And we kind of haven't seen them have the best late game macro, and they're kind of been mediocre across all levels, which hasn't really been allowed them to shine just yet. So I think if they can maybe clean some of that up, have a really good early game that transitions into the late game, play the macro a little bit better, we'll definitely see them make a run.
Okay, well, all eyes on Team Liquid. The defending champions will be given another chance to defend their honor, but they've got a lot of tough competition in the way, like we talked about, for the rest of the top 5 teams. Make sure you guys don't miss any of the action at TI. There's over $2 million on the line in that prize pool, so it's going to be a banger of a tournament to watch. But I just want to say thanks for watching another episode of Power Rankings. We got more on the way, including Rocket League and a slew of other titles, so make sure you guys don't miss any of the action, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.